So guys, you're very welcome to this LGFA Club Leadership series webinar. Just before we start, a couple of things. If you have any questions during the presentation, there's a Q&A box on your toolbar there at the bottom of your screen, or you can type into the chat for us and let us know your thoughts, let us know comments. If you have any questions, type them in there as well. And if you can't hear, if you can't see at any stage, would advise you, the height of my technical knowledge is if you could log back out and log back in again, and hopefully that solves the problem. Before we begin, we'll do our introductions. My name is Niall Mulrain. I'm the Head of Volunteer Development for the LGFA, and I'm delighted to be joined by Leah here. And Leah, I'll let you introduce yourself.
So my name is Leah Doyle. I'm the North Leinster Development Officer, only new to the role. So
there we go. Very enthusiastic, but Leah, isn't that right? New, but full of enthusiasm. But so guys, I suppose we're here tonight to talk about utilising the Club Compás initiative. Okay. So the Club Compás initiative is something that's been launched jointly between the LGFA, the GA, and the Camogie associations. I suppose it was a soft launch at the start of this year, and this workshop is designed to give us a bit more information about it and how it can help your club. Okay. So I suppose the question in everyone's mind is, what is Club Compás? And we've probably heard the term Club Compás over the last number of months. I know it's been on the different associations' websites. They've done a few press releases, things like that there. It's probably been mentioned at a county board meeting or two, but what exactly is the Club Compás initiative? The Club Compás programme, I suppose the idea of it is that it gives clubs a digital self-assessment tool to look at your own performance and review that and give direction and a bit of vision on how to address any operational shortcomings we have within our clubs. So I suppose as clubs, and we all know we're all part of clubs, we all want to be the best club we can be. And that might mean, winning county championships. It might mean being the best community group within your association. It might be giving people a facility or a place or a station in life that they can come and be social and I suppose communicate and operate with people who are like-minded to them and being the best club you can be in that front as well. So Club Compás is there, I suppose, to highlight the things you're doing well and maybe give you a nudge on the things that maybe we need to improve on as well. So each club that takes part in the Club Compás initiative will receive a bespoke self-assessment report that scores your performance against best practice. And this report will also give you advice on what to do next and what learning resources are available to help you be the best club you can be. Okay. I suppose a bit of background on the Club Compás initiative as well. It's a program that helps you assess your off-field performance. So we know where we're at on the field by our results on the field and our numbers playing the games and the number of teams we put out. But off the field, this is a benchmarking tool. We can give you access as well to train facilitators to develop action plans off the back of this and hopefully, achieve accreditation from the Gaelic Games associations at the end of it as well. In terms of why we've come up with this initiative or why this initiative has been developed, as I say, it's been developed across Gaelic Games, okay, and across all codes. So people from the GA, the LGFA, and the Camogie associations have sat down to come up with the Club Compás initiative, and there's a number of reasons for that. Okay, you can see on your screen at the moment. We're going to go through them one by one, but in terms of what we're trying to do is to encourage planning within our clubs, to improve governance standards, to simplify our volunteer workloads, to support evidence-based decision making as well, and not just maybe what one person in the club thinks right or somebody else thinks something else is right. We're looking at evidence here and figuring out the facts and figuring out what's best for our clubs from that. And then to recognize clubs that are doing things really well, So the first one, by taking part in the Club Compás initiative, clubs can be provided with insights into their current performance and resources to guide action planning conversations among the club executive and subcommittees. So I suppose at the start, we all have great visions about what we want to do with our clubs, and we have great plans for what we want to do, but maybe we don't know how to get there. So by taking part in the Club Compás initiative, we'll get insights into, we're doing this really well, okay, and it might be our on-field stuff or coach education possibly. Maybe our communications are lacking, and Club Compás will give us an insight into that, where we're actually falling down, where we could improve performance, and it'll also guide us to resources and I suppose access to, as I said, facilitators, to communications with national staff, provincial staff, club planning facilitators, that kind of thing as well. But above all, it'll spark that conversation between a chairperson and a secretary, or an executive member and a PRO or a treasurer, to say, well, actually, we'll plan for the next couple of years, we'll plan for the year ahead, or we'll actually put some things down on paper, what we're going to try and achieve here. I suppose the big thing as well is to improve our governance standards. Clubs at the minute, the association now, at the age it is and the stage it is, our clubs are becoming very sophisticated, I suppose, bodies and organisations and associations. By taking part in the Club Compass initiative, clubs can increase their awareness on key rules, key policies of the associations, and key tasks relevant to your club. So in the days of the one club, the standalone club, maybe a club that covers 2 codes and 2 different rule books and 2 different official guides, it is hard to figure out where we sit as clubs and where we actually are we going right by this rule book or that rule book, or are we crossing this rule or breaching that rule. So by taking part in the Club Compass initiative, it'll hopefully guide us to realise where we're at in terms of official guide, key rules, key policies, key procedures that should be happening and sometimes must happen in all our clubs, and maybe make us aware of things we need to sort of get our act in order with as well. By self-assessing, it's not someone coming in and going, well, you're doing this wrong and you're doing that wrong and you're doing that wrong. It's clubs identifying where they fall down in their practices now and doing something about it. I suppose the next big point as well, and this is one we really want to stress, is that at the moment, volunteering with your local club, and thank you for everyone being on tonight. I know it's a very hectic time of year with AGMs and maybe the end of playing seasons and preparing for new playing seasons and preparing for new committees and all the other things that happen at this time of year. A lot of our volunteers have been pulled in a number of different directions, and your county might be asking something from you, your province might be asking for something different, and central council or national level may be requiring some other piece of information from you. So by taking part in the Club Compass initiative, all those units should have the information there. So any information or documentation that you're passing on through the Club Compass initiative, like maybe the number of committee members you have, maybe the different roles you have filled, maybe the different people you have, the number of people you have trained as club coaches or club referees or things like that there. That information's there, and it'll simplify your job so that you're not asked for 10 times. That the information will be there for the units above to look at as well. As well as that, we would hope it supports evidence-based decision making within your club, because again, it's great having visions, and our clubs wouldn't be where they are at the moment without people having a vision of what they wanted to see from their club. So what we want to stress, I suppose, is it's great having that vision, and it's great having strong leaders within our clubs. Sometimes we can go down the route of one person's idea being policy for the club. So what we want to do now, by gathering data on club performance, you can actually make informed planning and resourcing decisions and help you benchmark against other clubs, maybe in your bracket or at your performance level or in your tier, because it's all right, a small club, basing itself and ranking itself against the All-Ireland club champions at senior level, and maybe that's not realistic for your club. So you want to look at other clubs, maybe at your level, what they're doing well, what they're doing right, maybe the level above, what they're doing well, what they're doing right, and look at where you can improve what you're doing or what you're putting out as a club there as well. And sometimes the things you think you might be doing well, when you actually go through the Club Compass initiative, you might realise, well, we're not really doing that well at all. So hopefully, by giving you the facts and giving you the data, you'll be able to make decisions based on evidence then, rather than based on opinion. And the last but not least, by gathering information on clubs, we can identify as Gaelic Games associations the clubs who are pursuing high standards in all aspects of club life, and that really sums up, what the Club Compass initiative is trying to be. The big part of it is that we're trying to recognise clubs that are pushing high standards, no matter what their context are, or no matter what their situation are. They're trying to be the best club they can be for what they are, and that might be a club with 50 members, or it might be a club with 5,000 members, and you can still be the best club you can try and be. So we want to recognise the clubs that are doing things really, really well. The next maybe 5 or 10 minutes we're going to spend going through what I suppose the Club Compass initiative looks like and how it actually works. So the first step to that is self-assessment. And I suppose that the keys in the name, the Club Compass tool is a self-assessment tool. So clubs will be assessing themselves, and it's not a case of somebody from a unit above you, a county board or a provincial council, coming down and saying, well, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. The way the Club Compass tool works is it's on Fern. So it's located on your Fern. So whoever has editing rights on your Fern, or administrator rights on your Fern or your club's Fern account, they will be able to go in and look at the Club Compass tool. And as I said, the way it works is divided into a number of key areas. So we can see on the screen at the moment, we've got the games, coaching and games, or games development and coaching area. And you'll be asked a number of questions depending on what kind of a club you are, whether you're a one club, LGFA and GA, whether you're a one club, LGFA, GA and Camogie. It'll give you a number of different questions. I think there's about 120 if it's an LGFA standalone club. There's maybe 150 if you're a full one club sort of situation. So you can see in your screen at the moment there, we've got 4 questions. Okay, and the first one is, does your club have an elected coaching officer? And you click yes or no. You can see from the red box above that, that's something every club must do. So if you take note of that, it doesn't stop you from continuing, but it sort of highlights that this is something every club must do. Has your club executive ensured all club coaches working with children and young people have completed the minimum coaching qualification? So that's mandatory in rule and according to legislation, so it's a must do as well. So if you click note of that, then that's a red flag for yourselves as clubs. We've got our Go Games nursery, so you provide that nursery program as well. And again, if you click note of that, well, that's something you must do. So you should be looking at as club as well. And then I suppose, does your club run an approved cool camp annually? And that's, you see, it's amber, so it's a should do, and it's a high priority should do. So this is something your club should be looking to do. Well, it's not rule and it's not a must do. It's a thing you should be looking at and you should be thinking about doing. And as I say, I know we've explained that, but the criteria, I suppose, was decided by departments and committees, both at national level, provincial level, fed into that as well. It was, I suppose, tested out with different counties and feedback sought on that as well. But it was done in collaboration with all the Gaelic games, and I think the thing is, it's based on rules, it's based on policies, and it's based on best practice things that we should be looking for from all our clubs. As I said earlier, there's different criteria that apply to the various club types. So one club's LGFA only, Camogie, GA, a mixture of the three, and there's the idea is that the more must do that you are doing, and the more should do's that you are doing, that'll give you a higher score at the end of the assessment. So as I said, I mentioned the colours there. We've got red, and those are the must do's. And they're the mandatory tasks set out either in official guides or by Central Council Power Association policy. The should do's are amber there, and they're good practice tasks that are really important to do, but they're not mandatory things that you have to do as a club. And then could do's are the nice to do tasks that sort of make your club a really welcoming environment for people, maybe for the community, or maybe for people who wouldn't traditionally been involved as a player, as an officer. And I suppose they'll have minimal impact, I suppose it says there, on the club's performance if they're not done. So they're not things you have to do, but they're the sort of extras that clubs are providing to make them the best club they can be, So that's the actual assessment. As I said, I'll go back to the tool there. You can see at the top of the page, we've got games, we've got people, we've got community, we've communications, and we've governance. Okay, and I think there might be one more. I can't just see it in behind there. There is one more after that as well, but those are the list of the different sections. As I say, at the end of your self-assessment, once you complete your 120 or your 150 questions, you'll get a club report. Okay, and I suppose your Club Compass report will look something like that. It'll give you an overview, a summary report of the answers you have given, and the idea of the club report is it will have a club action plan contained in it. So if there's some things that you have chosen no as your answer for, if they're must-dos, it'll give you recommendations on how to rectify that. If there should do's, it'll give you ideas and resources, and maybe it'll signpost you to things you maybe could put in place, or things people you can get in touch with, and departments and different units you get in touch with to help you in those areas as well. After then, we've mentioned action planning, but at the end of your club report, the idea is, once you've done all this with the Club Compás initiative, that you should be ready to start action planning. And I know, I suppose Gaelic Games has, over the last number of years, come together to create club planning resources. So GA, LGFA, Camogie associations have a club planning programme as well. It's usually 3 to 5 years, but I suppose sometimes clubs might want to plan for the next year. They might want to plan for 6 months. They might want to plan for 18 months. So the Club Compás tool should give you the direction to be able to plan for that period of time as well. In terms of developing an action plan, there's 2 ways clubs can go about it. They can do it on their own, and they can look at the report, and the club executive then can prioritise, well, here's some of our downfalls, or here's some of our shortcomings. These are the things we're going to work on over the next number of months. Once you've identified what actions you're going to take, you then implement them. And the key to I suppose any kind of good plan, or any kind of plan succeeding, is to have regular check-ins then. So if it's a yearly plan, there should maybe be a 3, 6, 9 month check-in on it. If it's a 5-year plan, you might want to have a year, a 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years check-in as well. The other way you can go, the other option would be to look for an external facilitator. So as I said, Gaelic Games across all associations have the club planning program, so you can get in touch with them, and you can also get in touch with your county support officer. So in the LGFA's case, we've got our development committee, our county development committee, and we've got our volunteer development lead on that committee. Get in touch with them, and they can signpost again to the club planning program, to facilitators that can get in touch with you and work with you to hold an action planning workshop with the club executive, and then a check-in after that as well, to make sure agreed actions are going to be implemented. So that's how the Club Compás tool works in essence. Okay. I suppose it isn't. It's been in its pilot phase, and as I say, there's been a soft launch in March of this year. So it's a very new initiative. It's a very new program. But so far, we've had about 500 clubs have taken part in the Club Compás tool, or the Club Compás initiative, and the average score we have seen is 78%. Okay, so that's really good, and it's really high, and it's really promising from the clubs that have engaged with the tool, that they're coming up with high scores. In terms of the average scores per province, and I'll try not to be too smug about this one, Leah, but we've got Connacht there at 78%. We've Leinster at 81%, Munster around the same, and then Ulster out on its own at 85%, or 84%. I'll not just give us that last wee bit. I'll not round us up, but it's great to see that those are the number of clubs, and that'll be impacted, I suppose, by the number of clubs taking part as well. But those are the average scores so far, on a county by county basis. We can see it there at the minute. The number of counties that have, or I suppose that not the number of counties, the average score by county, and we can see there we've Donegal at the top there, and this is across, I suppose, Gaelic Games. It's not LGFA specific. These clubs, this is across all associations. We've got Donegal, Down, Derry, and then I suppose we've got the likes of Limerick, Fermanagh, Roscommon down at the other. But I know that looks like a big I suppose big variation, but it's only about 10%, and that means by and large, all our clubs and all our counties are doing things, they're doing a lot of things really, really well. In terms of the different areas, so I said there's a number of different areas on the tool. We've got games, we've got people, we've community, we've communication, governance, and resources. Okay, and you can see there on the screen at the moment as well, the average scores by focus area are probably what we would imagine. So our games development, because that's what we all do and that's what we're all here for, are scoring really highly. So a lot of clubs, and by and large, the vast majority of clubs are doing things really, really well on that front. Again, with our people, which is really, really encouraging to see, we're getting high scores there as well. And then you can look at our community, our communication, and our resources that we're actually providing for our clubs, for our members, for our teams, for all that kind of stuff. They're things that we probably need to improve on. And I know it's probably not new to us. It's probably not it. That's the especially the community piece and the resource piece. Those maybe aren't the key areas that we focus on as committees. They're maybe not the key areas that we look at on a day-to-day basis. But I suppose it's highlighted again to us as associations, and maybe to yourself as a club if you've taken part in the Club Compass initiative, that there are things we need to work on. I suppose again, there's just a bit of an insight into the different club health metrics and the kind of things that we're doing well. You can see there along the bottom, that's the club average. So in terms of like getting our vetting updated and getting our members registered, and it would be GA only, for the club constitution being adopted, public liability, we can see we're scoring really high in that as well. And then down at the bottom here, we've got things like environmental sustainability measures, cardiac screening promoted, the Irish language been promoted. Those are the things that we maybe need to work on, and we maybe need to highlight and try and focus on. We have as well some feedback from some clubs that have taken part in the initiative or have taken part in a number of focus groups after the initiative, and some of the things they've come back with is, it gets you thinking about what to do. So I know the big thing is support for clubs, okay, and sometimes we don't know what the best thing to do is. So Club Compass will give you ideas and get you thinking about what is the right thing to do. It'll show you what matters most in your club, and what matters most, I suppose, as priorities for you to look at moving forward. It highlights best practice, and it's something we don't do enough as an association and as Gaelic Games, is highlight the good things we're doing really, really well. And by and large, the reports that have come back have been really, really good. It also shows you where to find resources and help and support to help improve as a club, and it also allows you to create a plan to address any kind of shortcomings you might have as a club too. So I know that was a whirlwind, I suppose, whistle-stop tour of the Club Compass initiative. I hope that has given you an insight in what the initiative is and what it's trying to achieve. If you have any questions, now's the time. Type them into the chat box, type them into the Q&A box. And if not, we thank you for listening this evening. Thank you to Leah for coming on with me there. And hopefully you'll all take part in the initiative moving forward as well. So thank you.